Hey, it's Mimi. Welcome back to my channel. Today is gonna be an interesting video. Well, for some. I've been getting a lot of people asking me about how I take notes, and I kind of been hesitant because I don't have a specific way I do things, but I figured out some ways that do work for me, and things that I've changed that I used to do that I don't do anymore, and things I never did that I do now. So I want to share those with you, so stick around. So the first thing is something very simple. It's just highlighters. So I highlight a lot. The reason why I highlight is so that I have a focal point of what I should focus on. Sometimes we get notes from professors and from classes that are just all over the place. There's just so much information and you don't even know where to start and where to end. So highlighters is where I like to go. During class, I'm not a person that writes down everything verbatim, just because I feel like if I do that, I miss out on what the professor is actually saying. And I think that's one tip I would like to give you guys, is that sometimes just be present in the class. Kind of like just listen to what they're saying. I guess for me it just works because I tend to remember what I hear. So I don't take that many notes. I just take notes on things that I don't see that they wrote there. So it might be something extra, because some professors you just need to. I had one professor where I had to write like word for word, or you're gonna not pass that exam, because he just went by what he said, not what he gave you on those notes. So just feel out the class, feel out the professor's style, but definitely try to pay more attention than writing notes all the time, because you might miss out on other things. So what I do instead, because the classes that are in my school, we tend to just do slides. I just highlight everything. I highlight things so that I know to go back and to study those things. So I do have a color code for some things, but I interchange a lot. I mean, don't go verbatim on my system, but I do have a system that works. So pink is the things that I have to remember. So if the professor says you need to know this, it's gonna go in pink automatically. And I feel like I use pink a lot for the same reasons throughout my whole notes. So the darkest, boldest color is what I use to remember things. Orange, which I sometimes interchange with pink, which is weird. Orange I usually use for terms. So let's say if the professor wants me to know the definition of an ACE inhibitor, or I just need to know that off the top of my head, not even if the professor tells me, but I just need to know what this means, I have it in orange. I highlight the term, and in yellow I highlight the definition of what it means. I use yellow a lot for things that that was mentioned, that maybe wasn't emphasized, but it was mentioned in something that is important but wasn't as important as this or as this. All of it goes in yellow, and I use yellow to kind of track what the teacher says. So as they're talking, I kind of track it with my yellow highlighter. Yellow, you're gonna see yellow all over my notes. And other colors I just use as you might need to know, or this looks like it's important, but he or she didn't really say it is, but I just highlight it. Or if I'm just sick and tired of seeing all these colors, I just switch it up a little bit. Like I said, do what works for you. I switch these up all the time. I usually switch up red and orange a lot. Why? I don't know. That's just how my mind works. But highlighters are the way to go. Use them during class for notes, and use them for your own time when you're reviewing things. So the next thing is something I kind of just started doing, which is kind of exciting. I kind of copied off a friend. She studies more by transferring her class notes that were given from us into her own notes. So like I said, in my school, the professors give us slides, whether it's PowerPoint or an Adobe PowerPoint kind of situation. She tends to transfer all that into notes, and I kind of started doing that as well, and I'll show you how I did it. So this is my notes on diabetes. I'll show you a close-up on it anyway, but I pretty much transferred everything that I thought was important. So slide 1 talked about blood glucose, and I put the things in bold where he put in bold. This is the kind of professor where whatever he puts in bold or in red, you need to know. So I made sure I put those in bold. So when later on I'm studying, and like, again, if I'm just like, oh, I'm tired, I go straight to the bold. Like, okay, he said this, he said this. And sometimes if I'm feeling a little festive, I'll go in with my orange, because orange is not as dark as the red. I'll go in my orange and go over the bolded parts where I need to know. And also I put in structures like this. This is a structure of the different cells that are within a pancreas. And in the structure, it tells you what they are. It has the alpha, the beta, and the delta cells. And sometimes it's too small, but sometimes I like pictures just so I can look at how it looks like. And next to it, I'll just rewrite what these say in a way where I can recognize. So I put in bold alpha cell and what it does. And then other stuff. Another important thing is that you might see in pharmacy school and even medical school or other schools or any science courses, there's a lot of these kind of pictures where it talks about the mechanism of some kind of system. Here is just the secretion of insulin, which is just the production of insulin, how insulin is created in your body. It's a lot. So you need to know what this means. So what I did is put a step-by-step written word out of what's going on here. And the professor skipped on some parts, and the parts that I skipped, that means I don't need to study. So I don't need to know. So why would I waste more time studying something I don't need to know? So I put exactly what he said, starting from the first part to the end, and the parts that I don't need to know, which was mostly this part right here. I didn't write down, I didn't bother. But I mean, I did learn it just in case, but if he didn't say it, I know this professor, if he didn't say it, it's not gonna be on it. So you don't have to worry. So stuff like this, definitely transfer the pictures over and write down the steps of what they mean and go over them. I also did the same thing but handwritten. So that's where I come to my next part, is create a portable study guide, because I can't always carry this huge thing all the time. So what I did is did one by hand. One thing that I know works for me is when I write things by hand, I tend to remember what I wrote. So what I did is when I have time, if I'm not doing anything, I'll just take those things and put them down and write down the characteristics of each drug and what they do and everything else. So I did that so that when I carry it with me, it's easier to do. The next part that's kind of my favorite is rewriting your notes by memory. Okay, let's say what I'll do is right now, sulfonylureas. What are the sulfonylurea drugs? They're the 3 Gs, glimepiride, glyburide, and glipizide. What do? They stimulate the pancreas to increase insulin. I still remember this because I wrote it by memory so many times by hand that it kind of stuck with me. So that's another thing I do. And when I write it by hand, I'll do that as my notes compared to my other notes and rewrite it again. So that's another way I do note-taking and studying intertwined together. So I hope these few tips help. Like I said, there's not one way to write notes because everybody learns differently, and notes should go according to how you learn and how you grasp the information. Like I said, I have a friend who likes to transfer everything to her from the notes to a study guide, which it does help, but I also have a way of doing it too. I like to rewrite things by hand and highlight everything. So I hope this helped, and if you have any other topics you'd like me to talk about, please put them in the comments below. If you like this video, click like. If you're not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Join the family, and if you want to see more, join me on Instagram, where you can actually see me do more pharmacy related things day to day. So thanks for watching, and remember, we're all in this together. We're all here just to help each other out. See you next time.